This week, I've been seeing a lot of discussion about China is dumping everything. And to some extent, that's actually true. The bubble created by Gen 1 gloves has already burst, and the impact has spread across the entire market. If you look at the DT index, it's been moving sideways with a slow downward trend. Retail investors are losing confidence, and large pumpers now need to spend significantly more capital just to maintain or pump prices. So, naturally, skins that were once sitting at high levels are starting to come down. Win King even got emotional on stream on April 5th. He said he put in so much effort for very little return, and he kind of misses when, right after the trade up update, it felt like he could control the whole market. So in this video, I want to go over my outlook on different segments and items in the current market. Let's start with the Armory. Just like I mentioned in a previous video, news about bot bans triggered a short-term pump, but when Valve didn't follow up with any updates, expectations collapsed and the market got dumped. Right now, ROI is sitting around 80. That's enough to support some lower priced items. But if the total market continues to weaken, we could easily see another 15% drop before Valve rotation. And that kind of slow bleed is honestly the most painful phase. Next, cases. I've noticed the movement in cases like a Revolution, Kilowatt, and Nightmare active drop pool cases. The reason is simple. People see them as stable. They believe Valve will eventually move them into the rare drop pool. But unless you're working with large capital or a very long-term horizon, I wouldn't recommend entering here. For high-tier rare cases, like esports cases or CS2 weapon cases, they've already broken out of their previous ranges. But right now, it's unclear whether they'll break upward or downward. This is a wait-and-see situation, unless, of course, you're a large player and want to test with small position. One thing I would avoid completely is buying glove cases at high levels. They're heavily tied to Gen 1 gloves. People aren't buying them to open, they're buying for profit, which means supply won't decrease meaningfully, so their price just ends up moving with Gen 1 gloves. Personally, I don't like this trade at all. Those are cases I actually prefer right now. The reasoning is simple. Their supply is actively being consumed, they've already broken out of accumulation ranges, and prices are still relatively low. But one key thing to remember with case investing, any sharp short-term pump will almost always be followed by a hard dump. Because those buyers are not opening cases, they are there for profit. When they are able to profit and exit, they never hesitate, so never chase strength. Selling into pumps is always the better play. Now let's talk about high-priced skins and collections. Take items like Bullet Rain or Blue Phosphor. They're currently moving with the overall market, and personally, I'm bearish. I'd expect at least another leg down. This is definitely not a deep buying moment. If you look at volume, it's been shrinking consistently throughout the downtrend. That tells you something important. There's less and less capital willing to step in. Liquidity is drying up. And without volume support, any so-called support level is meaningless. The very last one, the third generation gloves. If you look at the charts, you can clearly see a battle between ringleaders and the broader market. At current prices, there's no real profit opportunity. You need to wait for a moment of capitulation. Right now, we're in what I'd call a bottoming grind phase. Pumpers don't want the price to collapse, so they're using small amounts of capital to hold the structure together and prevent panic selling. At the same time, holders are slowly losing patience. Confidence gets worn down day by day, and if you enter here, You're basically just taking over someone else's position while absorbing the downside. Everything I've shared here is just my personal view of the market. Nothing is guaranteed. So make sure you manage your risk. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe.